Is there it is, and there it is. We're live. Finally. How are you guys? How's everyone doing this beautiful Thursday? We're here for another webinar presented by us, your very own Snovio, your best sales prospection tool. And we got a special guest here today. We got sorry about that. We got Alex here with us. Alexander. How are you feeling, Alexander? Are you anxious?
I was anxious. Now I'm just freaking out.
Don't worry. Our audience is the best audience out there in the internet.
I
All
bet.
right.
Thank you
What
for
about
having
you?
me.
No problem. What about you guys in the audience? Let me know how you're feeling. Are you excited? Are you anxious? Let me give you a brief bio on Alexander for those of you who might not know him. He's the growth strategy and founder and CEO of Think Business Platform. It's it's right here in Brazil. For those who don't know, I'm in Brazil, so is Alexander. It's a Brazil-based ecosystem integrating education, consulting, technology, and to help B2B organizations achieve predictable and scalable growth. That's the idea. With a career leading digital strategy for brands like Google, Microsoft, Bradesco, Salesforce, and many more, Alex helps companies leverage data, automation, and human intelligence to build sales systems that convert consistently. Today, through Think Businesses at Tech Branch, he teaches the next generation of marketers and sales professionals how to use data and AI not just to sell more, but to make better decisions. Am I missing something, Alex? You got the mic.
Thank you. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, guys. I want to thank everyone for being here, everyone of this beautiful Snovio audience across the globe. And no, actually, you've been extra generous. Thank you so much. I've just been, working, learning, missing some points, getting some other right, and always trying. And I promise to be here today, share my experience best I can. Hope you guys can. My mission as assigned from Snovio team is to make you guys think. So let's try and do that.
That's your business, right?
You're right.
Awesome. Well, uh, let's start. I guess we're all set. I heard
Yeah.
that you had an awesome presentation and you got some awesome insights for us. I'm also super eager to learn because I actually love the thing that you bring her to us. And let's do it. Let me give you the stage.
Thank you so much, Fernando. And
There it
again,
is.
thanks, Snovio team, Orina and Natalia, that have been taking care of us as partners. And we're very excited to be here. And as you guys can see, I did not use any AI to put this presentation. So it's all done by hand. I've been working on it for about 6 months, and it's now ready for you. So
And
of
it's
course,
actually super, yeah, it's actually super beautiful. I was taking a read at it, and I noticed that you started the presentation by saying the problem in B2B companies isn't the lack of tools, but disconnected processes.
yeah,
That's actually a strong statement, but actually it is disconnected in most sales operations today.
I can actually. It's one of my most strong positions in the market. I see people. We're gonna go through this later on in the presentation, but I see people, companies from small startups to like big. I mean, big tech ones working. Let's say you go there and you buy some tool. You subscribe to the best one in the segment, just like Snovio, for example, which is we know better than I do that it's a pretty powerful tool. But then you forget about one thing, which is culture. So companies go buy a tool, and with the tool, they get the famous playbook, like how you should use our tool. You know, everywhere, if you go on LinkedIn, you cannot go 2 or 3 posts without stumbling upon something. Just comment whatever, and I'll give you my secret playbook, right? So,
We've seen a lot
tools,
of those.
yeah. So, tools, I'm not trying, and please understand, guys, I'm not against tools. Tools are wonderful. Like you get to see this presentation, whether you like it or not. It's a bunch of slides, very well done, and it took me less than half an hour to put it all together because of the tool. Of course, the content, the knowledge was there. The tool helps you organize. So if you don't have the process, if your process is messed up, if your actions are not combined into a plan, let me tell you one thing. The tool is going to make your mess bigger and messier. That's what's going to happen. And then, what is the problem? It's not rare. Actually, it's pretty common. I go to a client, discovery meeting, first meetings, look, okay. And then I suggest something based on first impressions, like you should do, I don't know, cold email or LinkedIn inbox. And the guy goes, oh no, we've tried that already. It doesn't work for us. No, it's not that it doesn't work for you. You didn't do it right. That's why it didn't work for you.
And exactly. When you sum it up with people's expectations that a single thing will work for every aspect, that's the recipe for disaster,
Totally. And if there's one thing that tech and AI are very, very good at delivering, is what now is called hyper-personalization. So you buy a tool because it helps you personalize, customize your communications and your outbound or your inbound activities. But then what do? You use it all the same for every client, every segment, every niche. So you buy something trying to get better and more relevant communication with your audiences, and then you mess it up because you're doing what the tool tells you to do. So from my experience, having generated over 350 million reals, so you guys from foreign countries, not other than Brazil, that's about, well, considering exchange rate, about $100 million. And it's the other way around. The expert tells the tool what to do. The expert tells the customer, the team, what the tool should deliver. Otherwise, that's what I said in the beginning, or like you mentioned very well, Fernando, there is not a lack of tools, not at all. There is a lack of sometimes will. We're gonna get to there's a, if I'm not mistaken, a third or fourth slide. We say the trap of the CEO. We're gonna get to that, and I'll get deeper into this point, which is very relevant.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was taking a read at the CEO's trap as well. And what you mentioned is super real. People expect the tool to work for them instead of working with the tool. The tool will not do anything for you.
Exactly.
You gotta apply it.
That's right. Exactly. I mean, you don't get, let's say, you don't get a hammer and put it on the desk, on the table, and say, "Come on, hammer, tell me what to do." Right? If you're a carpenter, let's say. If you're a painter, you don't get the paint and you go, oh, what should I do with this? No, you have to do what you want from the tool. You have to know, right?
Exactly.
So, guys, here's a brief presentation. Let's not waste too much time on that. With this QR code, you can access all my social and links and network. Please feel free to connect, to ask questions, to bring anything you want to the conversation later on. Okay. That's what we just talked now. And right, let's get to the CEO's trap. So
Perfect.
I bet, if not everybody, most of us here have had either from your CEO, if you're on a team, or from your customer's CEO, like we need leads, right? That's the magic trick. Like if getting more leads would solve everything. If we get more leads, we'll get more sales. If we get more sales, we'll get more success. We'll get everything will be happy. Everyone will be happy. And still, we need more leads, right?
Yeah, people stuck in
And
that thought are only looking for quantity, not quality.
yeah, and one very important distinction, guys. We are here in the B2B universe, okay? So it's even harder in the B2B universe to think like this, to get along with a company leadership that thinks like this. For example, there are basically three ways that a company can sell more, right? You can sell, first one, to new customers, right? Which is pretty much getting new leads or new logos, as some companies prefer. Second one is to sell more times to the customers you already have, right? And the third one is to sell higher. I mean, as price. You can sell more value as long as you deliver more value to your customer. So you can scale selling to more customers, selling more times to the customers you already have, or selling more value across the three possibilities. And from my experience, like I said, as of now, we're about from anywhere from 500 to 1,000 projects delivered. And from my experience, let's put a Pareto here, like 80% of the companies, of the customers focus 80% of their energy, time, teams, and money on, guess what? Guess which of the third levers they focus on? You're laughing already, my friend. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
The first one,
they focus too much.
let's get new customers. Growth comes from new customers. And let me tell you one thing, from all the three, the first one is the more expensive, the one who takes more time to deliver results, and the less effective one,
Hmm.
especially in the B2B scenario. So what are you saying, Alex? Are you crazy? You're saying we should not go and try and get new customers? No, of course not. You should every day, but you should not depend on that to grow your revenue. Simple as that. There's a
That's
study
the
from. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, sorry. I was just gonna ask you, why do you think this belief still exists today? I mean, it's 2025, people are going in circles after more and more leads and forgetting what really matters. So, even though we've seen how much lead quality and process efficiency matters, why do people still think like that?
That's an excellent question. Remember when we started this webinar? First thing you said, there is not a lack of tools. You lack processes. So there is not, from my perspective, people. There's a very important factor to it, which is hypo. You guys familiar with the acronym hypo? HIPPO. That means highest paid person opinion. So whenever you're in a room and there's the CMO, CSO, CEO, so many decisions are based on opinion. So political systems. People sometimes are, well, I know my CEO is not getting it right. He's probably from finance or product or tech, and he doesn't know that actually we can, if we have the data, and that's the key, Fernando, and audience. The key is data, because it's easier to think just, oh, okay, it's always been like that, and we just got to get new customers. And you don't even care sometimes to look at, ICP, for example, ideal customer profile. That's where customer success begins. If you start conversations only with the customer profile that is lesser likely to turn on you later on the journey, you're being smart. If you take out of your funnel those that are not in your ideal customer profile, you're not losing leads. You're gaining time. You're bringing intelligence to your funnel, to your management, to your customer journey. So, answering your question, Fernando, I think it's more of a question of a mindset, because the data is there, the tools are there. Like, it isn't hard to get a pretty reliable and easy dashboard these days that you can just take a look and say, wow, you know what? Customers from Rio de Janeiro, let's say, here in Brazil, or LA, or Rome,
Anywhere.
they usually take twice as the time comparing to customers from Sao Paulo. So why should we keep doing that? We should, probably, if there are other factors there. But as long as you know that, like, okay, when I try to prospect retail, it takes 3 times as much comparing to when I try to prospect tech startups. So look at that. And then you look at the LTV. Well, usually a retail customer stays with us for about, I don't know, 3 months, while tech stays with us for 2 years. Which one should I focus on acquiring as a new customer? So remember, first lever, sell to new customers. Second, sell more frequently or more times to the customers you already have or had. And third, sell more value. As long as you provide more value, your customer will be happy to share that with you. You keep part of that value. So we have, in Brazil, we say something, it's called liderar para cima. Means you have to lead your leadership. Like,
Gotta
educate
lead
your CEO. Yeah, lead up. Educate your CEO, your management. Show them, but don't try to do that with opinion. Because if all you have is opinion, their opinion, unfortunately,
it's gonna
outweighs
have a
yours.
heavier weight,
Yeah. So bring data. There's a famous saying that says, "In God we trust. Everyone else must bring data." Have you heard that before, Fernando?
That's the key these days, to be data driven. Go
Yeah.
wherever the data takes you to. So, and I see that one thing that you mentioned is the hard time we have sometimes changing our CEOs or managers or whatever, changing their mindset, changing their ideas about something, which might be especially hard for older people, for older CEOs. The elderly tend to be more strict into what they already know. So how can a team be not necessarily convincing? Because when you bring data, you don't have to convince people of anything because you got the data there. So
Sometimes
how can teams? Yeah, sometimes you do. But how can teams change that? I see a lot of people, a lot of clients actually here at Snowville that are trying to implement Snowville in their companies. They are trying to bring that upwards to their management, but they also tell me, I'll try, but I already know what they're gonna say. or they don't want to take that step right now, or they don't want to change something. So how do you overcome that?
Okay. There are two different levels to that. First one, when within a company, someone has to, like you said, convince or sell it to the management, it's one scenario. And then what can you do? Personalize, customize the information. If you go, look, I know this tool and they're pretty good and they're reliable and they, it's simple to use and they're cheap. So how is that relevant to the CEO? Not at all. But if you say, look, Mr. CEO, I came across this tool and they have a lot of features that are nice, but I'm not going to take your time with that. But I'm confident we will improve our lead generation, thus our conversion rates, in about 7% in the next 3 months. And that's about X thousand or $1,000,000 or reals or whatever in revenue. So how does that sound? And then you can ask, like, look, and all I need for that is the following budget. I need $1,000 per year. And my goal, which I am confident that I can achieve, is with that $1,000, I can bring you 10 in return. So that's a whole different approach, isn't it?
Nothing like money to make someone change their mind, you know?
Yeah, and the part that is relevant to him. Once
Exactly.
we sold a big project to a very relevant educational group here in Brazil, and the deal, like you said, enterprise deals sometimes take months to be approved, and within a big company, it goes to compliance and legal and tech and product and purchase, procurement. So this was stuck with the CFO because it was like a significant investment, and the CFO was like, "I'm not convinced." And then we gather data of one of his competitors that was doing something similar. And with that, he got a 2% impact on company's market cap in the stock market. So that was the guy's language.
Exactly.
It wasn't going to help if we say, no, they are the fastest lead generators in the market. They have the best and the cleanest database. No, he doesn't care about that. So there's a very important data from Gartner. Typical B2B negotiation involves 6 to 8 stakeholders in an enterprise deal. So you're talking to one person. Let's say you're trying to sell a service to a company, and you're talking to one person, and all you get is positive signals. Like, wow, no, the tool is awesome. Oh no, I like your service. Your approach is excellent. But then it doesn't go forward. Oh, okay, let's get back to it in 2 weeks. No, let me get to my director. Let me get to my boss, and I'll talk to you in about. Well, everyone's been there, right? So
Exactly.
yeah.
It's not only about the data that you show, but how you present that data to whom, You gotta speak
That's the
CEO's language.
So
Exactly.
you're even selling to 6 to 8 persons. So it's one speech that you bring to the marketing guy, another one to the compliance guy, yet another one to the finance guy, and yet another one to the compliance, purchase, CEO, product. That's that
Exactly.
again down to personalization, customization, relevance of the information.
You mentioned something previously when you're talking about gathering this data that it takes actually a group effort. You know, you gotta be aligned with your marketing department, with sales department, with tech department. It is a
Yeah.
group effort, and that ties perfectly with our next topic, which is team alignment.
Mhm.
You mentioned about team alignment during that presentation in our next topic, but when each team has its own definition of success, growth really becomes fragmented. You know,
Mhm.
what have you seen actually working aligning these teams around one predictable revenue goal?
That's a pretty good question. First of all, let's think about a journey, okay? And as obvious as it seems, and here in Brazil, it's a big issue when we talk about teams. Uh, so let's talk soccer, for example. Each player has its function, has its position, right? So everyone should have clear enough on which part of the field are you playing in, and how do I get to that information? Which part of the customer journey or marketing or sales funnel do you deliver your best performance? I'll give you a quick example, Fernando. Think about the usual, very well known parts in sales teams. It's very usual to have the hunter and the farmer, right? So the hunter is that guy more aggressive with his eyes, and the farmer is the relationship guy, right? So which one should I have on my team? Better yet, which one should lead the team? From experience, and again, guys, what we're bringing here to this conversation is years and years and hundreds of meetings, presentations, negotiations that happen in the arena, on the field. So, from my experience, hunters play well on the edges. A hunter is pretty good to open conversations, to prospect, start new deals, and is also good to close. Okay? Farmers are usually better in the midfield, making a simple analogy with soccer. Hunters don't have sometimes the patience to, call me next week, or no, let me talk to my boss and I'll get back to you next month, or get back to me next quarter. He just leaves that and goes to the next one, because
Exactly. It's just straight up lying or
yeah,
getting time, you know.
that's how he's made. And he goes to the next one because he's a hunter. And then what happens? Another very important data I'd like you guys to take note of this one. 80% of all B2B deals are actually completed after 8 follow-ups. Not one, not two, not one text message like, "Hey, did you get the chance to look at the proposal I sent your way last week?" No, that doesn't get the deal done. 8, and it's not to your customer, your prospect. It's not the news that you ask for. Hey, any news on the proposal? So a hunter by nature doesn't have what it takes to keep, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything else? Look, I put together this presentation or this data sheet or this graph to help you deliver the message within your company. No, the hunter wants to hunt. On the other hand, the farmer, sometimes he lacks the energy to go ahead and say, so Fernando, we've been talking for about 8 weeks now. How's it going to be? Are you going to close or not? Can I send your contract your way? What's it going to take for us to go ahead and close this deal? Because that's not in him. So that's one of the classic team misalignments. Sometimes sales teams have good leads, good tools, good prospects. The customers are happy, but they have a player playing in a position where he cannot deliver his best to the team.
He's either
And then
being
it all comes to the journey.
yeah. He's either being misused or underused or overused, you know. You gotta perform at what you can perform, what you can perform. That's where you're gonna shine.
Exactly. And that's a leadership responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the, like, let's make another analogy, like the funnel or the customer journey is the field. Do you have the right players on the right spot on the field so he can deliver the best, his best actions to the team? A classic. That's everyone. I bet everyone here either has done it or had received it. On LinkedIn, someone just comes to you and, hey, Fernando, how you doing? This is Alex. I'm with Think Business. We help companies like yours accelerate and scale to X. And how's 15 minutes on next Tuesday sound for a quick presentation? Right?
Exactly.
So I'm playing attack. I'm trying to get the whole funnel in one message. So no, dude, you've never heard of me before. And I'm asking you on a date. Like, no one goes. I mean, some people do, right? If you go on a bar, like, well, what are you talking about, you freak? Maybe I do, but I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know what you like. I don't know if you want to have kids. I don't know if you want to, travel the world. I don't know if. So you got to get to know where your potential lead, where your customer is located on the journey, and then communicate accordingly.
Exactly. And once that you got, sorry, go ahead.
No, should it?
I was just actually going for our next topic, that once that you got everyone playing at their best, I mean, once that you got the hunter doing the hunting, the prospector doing the prospection, and so on, once that you got it right, how do you turn all the data into deals, where this framework comes in? Which is a bit of our next topic, that I noticed that you got 4 steps for us, so I wanted to understand a little more about them.
That's pretty much a really, really oversimplified approach when we condensed it into these 4 steps. And the first one, it's obvious, it's collect the data. And there's a trap in it, a really, really hard trap not to fall in, which is companies these days is really, really easy to collect data, right?
For some more than others,
right?
Some of them don't know yet.
Data has a lot of value. Yeah. So data is the new oil. Okay. Imagine you're driving to the beach, for example, and then your car runs out of gas. Forget about EVs or, we're talking about cars. Then your car runs out of gas and you're in the middle of the road. But then you think, oh, wait a minute. I have an oil barrel in the trunk. Can you do something with an oil barrel to make your car keeps running? No, you can't, because it's crude oil. It's not refined into gasoline. That's pretty much the same with data. Companies gather and collect data from every channel. Oh, we need to measure our LinkedIn. We need to measure our social networks. We need to measure our email conversion rates. We need to measure our audiences in everything. So what are you going to do with it once you collected all this data? And the question you have to ask first is, what data do I need to collect in order to measure the KPI that it is relevant to my business? Do I even know which KPIs are we looking at? Which ones are we trying to improve? And then you get the data, you collect it.
Yeah, more important than having a lot of data is knowing what data do you have and what to do with it.
Exactly. I mean, you need the right data. You don't need a lot of data. So that comes to clean. It's better to have clean data. And then, for example, let's land it a little bit on our, daily activities here. You have a email database. In the B2B, again, we're in the B2B world here. And let's say you have, 5,000 emails on your base. Most likely, a big chunk of it, it's going to be johndoe@gmail.com or hotmail.com or yahoo.com. So it's not that this is the law, but usually Gmail or generic providers' emails are not good for the enterprise, right?
Exactly.
So that's a nice example of clean versus dirty data. Can you send emails to Gmail accounts? Of course you can. But can you keep expecting a nice response rate? Or even if they do respond, is it qualified? Of course, you can have a very qualified lead that have chosen to give you his Gmail instead of his corporate email, and that's okay. But see, you have to start second guessing stuff.
Which actually brings us to our next topic, right?
Okay.
What to prioritize.
Yeah. Oh, I think my camera is back.
The next one. Sorry, in this one.
Yeah.
After that data is clean, you gotta choose how to prioritize these guys. Who do I call first? Who do I get in touch with? How do I do that?
My suggestion, my recommendation, like strong recommendation, back to the basics. Who are your ICP or ICPs? And again, within those profiles, what are the KPIs you are looking to impact? You're going to prioritize something, real case. This week, it happened. We have we're going to make a webinar for the company I work with. And I had a big proposal with a big customer already presented, waiting on the customer's confirmation. And then, which data do I prioritize? I was with my team, my marketing team. Look, we need to customer ask for this data, so he will get the information he needs to make a decision and get back to us with an okay, which is pretty close to do. Or are we going to get data to have the webinar? Which one is more impactful now? Guys, this is the 30th of October. Tomorrow is the last day of the month. Thank God, and processes and tools and us, our quota is okay. We had reached quota like a few days ago, so we're fine. But is it more important now to take care of this customer or to work on the data that we will use to launch the webinar 2 weeks from now? So that's a really simple example, but prioritize by thinking about the outcome. Is this going to impact a relevant indicator in my business or in my relationship with this customer? So again, you can use demographics, you can use historical data.
Everything at your disposal to get to know
profitability. Yeah.
I guess that we got a bit of delay there.
Don't do it by accident. Oh, okay.
No, don't worry. It's just.
Where are we at, Fernando?
Actually, I was just about to ask you, once that you got all these prioritizations set, this must completely change how SDRs spend their time, who they call to, what they do, what they don't do now or later, right?
Man, wow. Thank you for this question. That's excellent point. You know what? I'm not going to say 80% again or 90% of the companies, but most, like enormously amount of companies use SDRs wrong. Yeah, call me out on this one if you want, but companies are using SDRs wrong. If you ask 100 people in our business, what are the main SDR role? They're gonna say qualify leads, right? Or something similar.
Exactly. Verify, actually, qualify, generate.
The most value an SDR or an SDR team or an AI SDR can bring to the table is exactly the opposite. The biggest contribution an SDR can make is to disqualified, unfit leads. So put the pipeline to the senior executives, to the BDRs, to the closers with dirty leads, with unfit leads. And yet, most companies even pay or reward SDRs by the number of meetings they pass it on. So no, just stop it.
Exactly. If you're
I'm not
sure
SDR, if I answered your question, Fernando, but that's a
No, yeah. That's exactly the mindset that you're after. If you're an SDR and you're booking directly to your account executive, then your main goal has to be saving their time. Disqualifying the wrong leads, yes, saving time for your AE, and then by this generating more revenue, making everyone focus on what's actually profitable.
That's right. Awesome. No wonder we're here. Okay. Maybe we switch the decks, Fernando. I'm sorry.
The next
but that's okay. Let's go with the deck itself. I think I've made a few updates on the deck.
Ah, got it. Let me change it.
But that's okay. We can go ahead. I'm prepared to go ahead even if the power is off. No, that's not going to be possible, right? Because we're online.
Tell me when to stop.
But yeah, you can skip. This is important.
There it is.
Okay. Let's to the car salesman. No. Actually, two more backwards, please.
This one.
Yeah, right. So before we get deeper in the culture, SDRs we were talking about, there's one thing that's really, but really I cannot stress this enough. Important. The environment has changed. So the rules have changed. Yesterday, I was seeing a post from Jaco van der Kooi from Winning by Design, like big reference in our market. And he was making a comparison, like 100 years ago, when the airplane was invented, like it was a machine that could fly and taking advantage of, air resistance and a few physics laws. Okay. How is it today? Same, right? The airplane flies because of the very same laws that he used to 100 years ago when it was invented, or 80, or I don't know, 120 years ago. Doesn't matter. What changed? What changed that we fly in a more fast, secure, reliable, comfortable way these days? Systems did. An airplane today is a big system, a big collection of systems integrated. As far as I know, you don't even need the pilot anymore, right? So same thing in business and sales universe. We need systems, but culture. What happened 30 years ago, 20 years ago? If you needed to buy anything, most likely you had to talk to someone, because companies, the manufacturers, factories, they had all the information. So you had to talk to someone to buy a shoe, a phone, a car, clothes, whatever. You had to talk to someone. That's where the sales talk came from. Well, the guy's good. He can talk, so he can sell. The news is, this is not true anymore. It's just not true anymore. It doesn't get the job done anymore. Sales superpowers these days is listening. And listen doesn't even really mean that you need to talk to someone and listen to what they're saying to you. You can listen to their behavior. You can track down his online behavior. Listening means you act on the information you've collected. Remember collecting data and then prioritize data? We talked about it like a few minutes ago. Because there's really small but relevant information here. It's called information asymmetry. That means when one part has more information about the topic we're discussing than the other, the part who has more information tends to lead the conversation. Okay, Ale, this all sounds nice, but how the this connects to us? Let me show you one thing. Sales executive of any level. You're trying to reach out to a prospect. Hey, Fernando, this is Alex I'm with Snovio here, and I'd like to show you our platform and see how many leads you can get. And how's that sound? You have 30 minutes next Tuesday. At the beginning of this conversation, you know everything about your company, and you know nothing about mine. And then I, the sales executive, I reach out and I give you, sometimes I flood you with information on what? My company. So now at the end of this prospecting flow, you have every information about my company, and you still have all the information you had previously about yours. You are, not me, that I am here humbly trying to prospect you. But I didn't do my homework. And I don't know anything about your company. So you are going to lead the conversation. Instead, if I reach out and look, Fernando, I know you work for Snovio and you're a platform, and you help companies to reach out, make outbound, and collect leads and sell more at the end of the day. And look, I have here a community of entrepreneurs that would be really interested in getting to know your platform. Could we get a discount coupon for them? Which one would you be more interested in? Because of the information asymmetry. So whoever have more information about the topic in discussion tends to lead the conversation. So never again reach out to a customer that you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
That connects to
Gotta,
the value that the SDRs or pre-sales or outbound teams bring to the table. Does it make sense, guys? Does it make sense, Fernando?
of course, you gotta know your targets. You gotta know your leads. Don't necessarily, I mean, especially when you work with a large quantity of leads, don't have a lot of time to research every single one of them. But you gotta know
right.
the basics to get in touch with them. You gotta know who they are. You gotta know what they do. You gotta know where they're at. But every other information, you're gonna go after it. How's their scenario today? What they need to change? What is their current pain? And this is essential. This is actually crucial, especially if you're working inbound. For those of you working inbound, your lead is already interested. They're already going to you. They're already coming to you. Sorry, to get more info. So give them what they need, which is just lend them your ear. Get them to talk, get them to feel comfortable around you, get them to trust you, and get them to feel that you know what they need and the pain they're going through. This sells more than anything that you can tell them. Really crucial. All right. We're heading our way to our final moments. I would just like to bring up some comments from our audience. We can comment a little more on
And
that.
especially why are you relevant to them?
Exactly. For our audience, I got Lucy Mars comment here. She says, "Tools are just executing it, but that's it.
Cool.
You have to bring the brains. With no strategy, every tool will become useless." And that's super true, even for Telegram, WhatsApp, or whatever. It's just there. It's not going to do anything by its own. Do you know any tool to do it for you? They don't. If you're looking for things that do stuff for you, then you're looking at the wrong place. Only you know your market, only you know your clients' pains, and so on. So tools are just the means. You gotta find the end. We got another one from actually Giancarlos. He says the way you present something is essential. That's one of the major factors that causes a high open rate and almost zero reply rate in campaigns. As you said, the tool works with you, not for you. Exactly. Just sums up to
Totally.
what we mentioned just
That's
earlier.
right.
Really well said, John. We have a question here from Dmitro. Can you share a few common mistakes you see B2B sales teams make when trying to automate outreach or CRM, and how can they avoid it? Thank you. Care to elaborate on that, Alex? Alex, can you hear me?
Yep.
There it is. We got Dimitro's question here. Can you share a few common mistakes you see on B2B sales team, and how can we avoid them?
Okay.
Alex. I guess we lost Alex there for a second. Maybe.
Of course. Common mistakes B2B sales teams make when trying to automate outreach. Yeah, just
we seem to have a few technical difficulties here, guys.
yes, of course. Thank you, Dimitro, for the question.
He's back.
The most common mistake that I see is Okay, guys, can you hear me?
We can hear you, but the delay is huge.
I'm back, right? Okay.
There it is.
Okay. I'm going to try and answer Dimitro's question. The most common mistake that I see, I like to call it a trap in B2B automation, is teams automate before testing it. Like, let's automate for the sake of automation, because we have to say we are automating stuff before knowing, again, the KPI. What's it going to be considered success evidence? What does it have to happen, or what do we expect to happen to consider that this automation, if that's the case, was a success? So it's like, let's automate because then we can release the team for, higher value activities. But you don't even know why you're automating. And that's not only regarding automation. AI has a pretty big role in that too.
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense, he says. All right. I'm sorry, everyone. Here's the saddest part. We are out of time. Unfortunately, we couldn't cover everything we got. Alex has a lot more knowledge that he can share with us, and actually he prepared to do so. But again, we are on strict timeline. But this conversation doesn't end here. To talk about everything you were not able to today, join the discussion afterwards the webinar. We're continuing this conversation on our community, which I'll leave it here on the comments. Share your thoughts, ask follow-up questions, and exchange outreach insights. Just come join us, talk to us, be a part of it. We're expecting you all to answer your questions. Alex, would you have any final comments?
Just like to thank you for the great conduction, like the maestro here. And of course, Snovio team, again, Orina and Natalia. And most and foremost, everyone that took the time to be here with us. Thank you for the comments, for the questions, for being here with us. And like Fernando said, the conversation doesn't end here. Feel free to connect, to reach out, LinkedIn, Instagram, smoke signs, anything. We're here to help. It will be a pleasure to connect with you guys and explore, educate ourselves and get everyone to think, right? That's why we're here.
Awesome. That was really insightful. Thanks, Alex, for being here. Thanks, everyone that stuck with us this whole time. We're anxious to continue this on our community, and have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. See you all
Bye bye,
later.
guys. Nice to be with you.